On a distant planet called Zephyria, the skies shimmered with colors unknown to Earth. This beautiful world was full of strange plants and creatures, but danger lurked beneath its vibrant surface. In a small village surrounded by tall, glowing trees, lived a young alien girl named Lyra. She had bright green skin and large, sparkling eyes that reflected the beauty of her home. Lyra was kind and gentle, known for her special ability to heal the sick and wounded. But today, Lyra's life was about to change forever. A group of ruthless aliens known as the Kragans invaded her village. They were powerful and had one goal: to capture Lyra and use her healing powers for their own evil plans. The villagers tried to protect her, but the Kragans were too strong. They raided the village, and in the chaos, Lyra was captured. As the Kragans took Lyra away, she felt a mix of fear and determination. She knew she had to find a way to escape. The Kragans dragged her to their dark metal ship. Inside, the air was cold and filled with strange sounds. Lyra looked around and saw other captives, aliens from different planets, all frightened and alone. She wanted to help them, but first, she needed to focus on her own escape. Meanwhile, on a nearby space station, a brave human soldier named Jack was preparing for his next mission. Jack was known for his courage and skill in battle. He had traveled to many worlds, but he had never seen one like Zephyria. As he trained with his team, he overheard a conversation about the Kragans' attack. The mention of Lyra's name caught his attention. He learned that she was special and had the power to heal, making her a target for the Kragans. Jack's heart raced as he imagined the young girl in danger. He knew he had to help her. "I can't just stand by while she's in trouble," he thought. Jack decided to leave his current mission behind and focus on rescuing Lyra. He gathered his team and explained the situation. At first, some were hesitant. They had their own missions and goals, but Jack's determination inspired them. He reminded them that saving Lyra was the right thing to do. With a renewed sense of purpose, Jack and his team made a plan. They would travel to Zephyria and infiltrate the Kragan ship. Jack knew the journey would be dangerous, but he believed in his team. Each member had unique skills: a tech expert who could hack into systems, a stealthy scout who could gather information, and a strong warrior who could fight when needed. Together, they would rescue Lyra. As they prepared for the mission, Jack thought about Lyra. He wondered what she was feeling, trapped and alone. He promised himself that he would bring her home safely. With their ship fueled and ready, the team set off towards Zephyria. The journey was filled with excitement and anxiety. As they approached the planet, they could see the beautiful landscapes and glowing trees from above. But Jack knew that beauty could hide danger. They landed their ship in a hidden area, away from the watchful eyes of the Kragans. The team gathered for one last briefing, checking their gear and making sure everyone was ready. "Remember," Jack said, "we are not just saving one girl. We are showing that we care about those who cannot protect themselves. Let's do this together." With determination in their hearts, Jack and his team moved toward the Kragan base. The sounds of the forest surrounded them, but they stayed focused on their mission. Little did they know that Lyra was also thinking of escape. She was not just a victim, she was strong in her own way, and she would not give up without a fight. As the team got closer, they could see the dark ship looming ahead. Jack felt a mix of fear and hope. Time was running out for Lyra, and they had to act fast. Every second mattered. They had to save her before it was too late. Jack and his team stood hidden behind the tall, glowing trees of Zephyria. The dark shape of the Kragan ship loomed in front of them, surrounded by guards and strange machines. The atmosphere was tense, filled with the sounds of the alien world around them. Jack could feel his heart pounding as he thought about Lyra, trapped inside that ship. They had to act quickly. "We need to gather more information," Jack said, glancing at his team. "We can't just rush in blindly." His tech expert, Mia, nodded. "I can hack into the ship's systems and find out where they're keeping Lyra, but I'll need some time and a safe spot to work from." "Let's split up," suggested Raj, the strong warrior. "Mia and I can create a distraction while Jack and the scout Zoe look for an entrance." Jack agreed. The plan was risky, but it was the best chance they had. As they prepared to move, Jack reminded everyone, "Stay focused. We're here to save Lyra, and we can't let her down." With their roles clear, the team moved into action. Mia and Raj slipped away, using the trees for cover. As they reached the ship, Jack felt a mix of excitement and fear. He could hear the low hum of machinery inside and the distant voices of Kragan guards. Zoe carefully examined the ship's exterior, looking for a way in. There! A maintenance hatch, she whispered, pointing to a small door that seemed less guarded. Jack nodded, feeling relieved. They quickly moved to the hatch and pushed it open. Inside, the air was cold and stale. The walls were lined with metal, and the faint sounds of alarms echoed in the distance. Jack knew they didn't have much time. They needed to find Lyra and get out. As they moved through the narrow hallways, Jack's mind raced with thoughts of Lyra. He wondered how she was holding up. Was she scared? Did she know help was coming? He felt a deep sense of responsibility to save her. Meanwhile, Mia and Raj had successfully created a distraction outside the ship. Raj's strength came in handy as he knocked over crates, making loud noises that drew the attention of the guards. As the Kragans rushed to investigate, Mia quickly accessed the ship's control panel. She worked fast, her fingers flying over the buttons. "Got it!" Mia exclaimed softly. "I've located the holding cells. Lyra is on the lower level, guarded by 2 Kragans." Raj gave her a thumbs up. "Let's go!" They rushed back toward the ship, ready to join Jack and Zoe. Jack and Zoe reached a large door marked Holding Cells. Jack took a deep breath and pressed the button beside it. The door slid open with a mechanical hiss, revealing a dimly lit room. Inside were several cages, and in one of them, Jack spotted Lyra. She was sitting on the floor, looking scared but still determined. "Lyra!" Jack called out softly. Her head snapped up and her eyes widened with hope. "You came for me?" she asked, her voice filled with disbelief. "Of course! We're getting you out of here," Jack replied, rushing to the cage. But just as he reached for the lock, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed behind them. The Kragans were returning. "We need to hurry!" Zoe urged, glancing nervously at the door. Mia and Raj appeared just in time, ready to help. "We have to take out the guards before they get here," Raj said, his voice steady. Jack nodded, feeling the urgency of the situation. They had to work together. With quick movements, they formed a plan. As the guards approached, Mia used her tech skills to create a loud noise on the other side of the room. The Kragans turned, confused. "Now!" Jack shouted. In a swift motion, Raj charged at the nearest guard, taking him by surprise. Jack and Zoe followed, working together to subdue the second guard. The battle was quick but intense, and within moments they had secured the area. "Lyra, hang on!" Jack said, rushing back to her cage. He quickly unlocked it, and the door swung open. Lyra stood up, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Thank you," she said, relief washing over her. "I was so scared." "Let's get out of here," Jack urged, glancing at the door. They had to move fast. With Lyra safe, their mission was not over yet. The real challenge was just beginning. Together, they prepared to escape, ready to face whatever dangers awaited them. With Lyra safely out of her cage, Jack, Zoe, Mia, and Raj quickly regrouped. They knew the danger wasn't over. The sounds of the Kragans echoing through the ship reminded them that time was running out. Jack glanced at Lyra, who looked determined despite the fear in her eyes. "Stay close to us," Jack instructed. "We'll get you home, but we need to move fast." Lyra nodded, her expression resolute. She felt a mix of gratitude and hope. These brave humans had come to save her, and she would do her part to help them escape. As they stepped cautiously out of the holding area, Jack led the way with Zoe scouting ahead. They moved through the dimly lit hallways, their hearts pounding with anticipation. Every sound made them tense, but they knew they had to remain focused. "Let's stick to the shadows," Mia whispered. "If we can avoid the guards, we might make it to the exit." Zoe nodded, her eyes scanning the area. She pointed toward a narrow passage that led deeper into the ship. "We can go this way. It looks less guarded." Jack paused, looking at her. "What do you mean?" Lyra concentrated for a moment. "The Kragans are close. They're coming this way. Then we need to hurry," Raj urged. "Let's move!" They quickened their pace, making their way down the narrow passage. The walls were cold and metallic, and the dim lights flickered overhead. They could hear the distant chatter of the Kragans, their voices harsh and threatening. Suddenly, a loud alarm blared throughout the ship, filling the air with an urgent tone. "They found out we're here!" Mia exclaimed, panic rising in her voice. "Stay calm," Jack shouted. "We have to find a way out now!" They raced through the passage, and Lyra's heart raced alongside them. She felt a surge of energy within her, a deep connection to her home planet. "I can help!" she said, surprising everyone. "How?" Zoe asked, glancing back at her. I can create a distraction. Just give me a moment, Lyra replied, determination shining in her eyes. Jack nodded, trusting her instinct. Okay, we'll cover you. Just be quick! As the group took cover behind some crates, Lyra closed her eyes, focusing on her powers. She imagined the plants and creatures of Zephyria, feeling their energy flow through her. With a deep breath, she raised her hands and a bright light surrounded her. Suddenly, a loud explosion echoed from the far side of the ship. The lights flickered and the ground shook. The Kragans turned in alarm, running toward the sound. Now! Jack shouted, urging everyone forward. They sprinted through the corridor, following the sounds of chaos. As they rounded a corner, they spotted an exit door leading to the outside. There it is, Zoe yelled, her voice filled with hope. But just as they reached the door, a group of Kragan guards appeared, blocking their escape. Jack's heart sank. They were trapped. Stand back, Raj shouted, stepping forward, ready to fight. He knew they had to protect Lyra at all costs. Jack grabbed Lyra's arm. Stay close to us, he ordered, his eyes fierce. The Kragans charged, weapons raised, but Raj met them head-on. Jack and Zoe quickly joined the fight, using their skills to take down the enemies. Mia stayed close to Lyra, keeping her safe while the others battled. Lyra watched, fear gripping her heart. She couldn't just stand by. With a surge of courage, she called upon her powers again, feeling the energy of the planet surge through her. Stop! She shouted, her voice powerful and commanding. The light around her intensified, catching the attention of the guards. For a moment, the Kragans hesitated, confused by the sudden brightness. This was Lyra's chance. I can help! She cried, focusing on the guards. In an instant, a wave of energy swept over them, causing the Kragans to stumble back. Jack and his team seized the opportunity, pushing forward through the chaos. They fought with renewed strength, their spirits lifted by Lyra's bravery. Let's go! Jack shouted, leading Lyra and the team toward the exit. They burst through the door, emerging into the bright light of Zephyria's sky. But their freedom was still not guaranteed. They could hear the angry shouts of the Kragans behind them. Jack knew they had to move fast. This way, he directed, pointing toward the forest. As they sprinted away from the ship, Lyra felt the weight of fear lifting. She was free, and she would fight alongside these humans to escape. Together they dashed into the forest, ready for whatever challenges awaited them. The sunlight streamed through the tall trees of Zephyria as Jack and his team sprinted deeper into the forest, Lyra right beside them. The sounds of the Kragan ship faded, but they knew the danger was far from over. Behind them, the angry shouts of the Kragan guards echoed through the trees, and the thudding of heavy boots drew closer. We need to find a safe place to regroup, Jack said, glancing over his shoulder. If they catch up to us, we'll be outnumbered. Lyra felt a sense of urgency. There's a clearing up ahead, she said, her voice steady despite the fear creeping in. We can hide there for a moment. Lead the way, Zoe urged, her eyes scanning the area for any signs of danger. They raced toward the clearing, pushing through the thick underbrush. As they emerged into the open space, Jack quickly surveyed their surroundings. The clearing was surrounded by tall trees, and in the center was a small pond with crystal-clear water. It seemed peaceful, but Jack knew they couldn't let their guard down. Everyone, catch your breath but stay alert, he commanded. They huddled together, panting from the run. Lyra could sense the tension in the air. They all knew that the Kragans were not far behind. Suddenly, the sound of branches snapping filled the air. The team turned to see several Kragan guards entering the clearing, weapons drawn and ready for battle. Jack felt his heart race. Get ready, he shouted. Raj stepped forward, muscles tense and ready to fight. I'll take the lead, he declared, his eyes fierce. Jack nodded, knowing Raj was their strongest warrior. As the first Kragan lunged at Raj, he dodged swiftly and countered with a powerful punch. The Kragan stumbled back, but two more quickly took its place. Jack and Zoe joined Raj, working together to fend off the attackers. Lyra watched, her heart pounding. She felt the energy of the forest around her, and she knew she had to help. I can assist, she called out, raising her hands. Stay close to us, Jack shouted back, focusing on the fight. Lyra nodded but felt a surge of power rising within her. She could sense the fear and anger of the Kragans. In that moment, she decided to use her abilities to protect her new friends. With a deep breath, Lyra closed her eyes and concentrated. A bright light enveloped her, and she directed it toward the Kragans. The light surged forward, creating a blinding flash that momentarily stunned the guards. "Now!" Zoe shouted, taking advantage of the confusion. Jack and Raj rushed in, knocking out 2 of the dazed Kragans. The tide was turning, but they still faced more enemies coming from all sides. Just as they thought they had the upper hand, a loud roar echoed through the clearing. From the shadows emerged a larger Kragan, a fearsome warrior with a menacing look. The team froze for a moment, knowing this would be their toughest challenge yet. Jack clenched his fists, determination in his eyes. "We can't back down now! We fight together!" Raj stepped forward, ready to take on the big Kragan. "I'll distract it. You guys focus on the others. Be careful!" Lyra shouted, her heart racing as she watched Raj charge at the massive creature. Raj swung his fists, but the large Kragan was fast and agile. It dodged Raj's attack and countered with a powerful blow. Raj staggered back but quickly regained his footing. Meanwhile, Jack and Zoe fought off the remaining guards, working as a team to keep them at bay. "Lyra, can you help Raj?" Jack called out, hoping she could use her powers again. Feeling the urgency of the moment, Lyra focused on Raj. "You can do this!" she encouraged, sending a wave of energy toward him. The light wrapped around him, giving him renewed strength and confidence. Raj felt the energy surge through him. With a fierce shout, he charged at the large Kragan again, this time fueled by Lyra's power. He landed a solid punch that sent the creature reeling. As the battle raged on, Lyra decided it was time for her to join the fight. She stepped forward, channeling her healing powers into a shield of light that surrounded her and her friends. The Kragans hesitated, confused by the sudden glow. "Now let's finish this," Jack shouted, rallying his team. With Lyra's shield protecting them, they fought fiercely against the remaining guards. Together they pushed back, taking advantage of the moment of confusion. The clearing was filled with sounds of battle, but with each passing moment, Jack felt hope growing stronger. They were fighting not just for Lyra, but for each other. With a final push, they overcame the last of the guards, and the large Kragan staggered back, defeated. Breathing heavily, Jack looked around at his team. They were bruised and exhausted, but they had won. "We did it!" he exclaimed, relief washing over him. Lyra smiled, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Thank you for believing in me," she said, her voice filled with emotion. But even as they celebrated their victory, they knew they weren't out of danger yet. The sounds of the Kragan ship echoed in the distance, and they had to move quickly. Together, they prepared to escape, ready for whatever awaited them next. As the last echoes of the battle faded, Jack and his team caught their breath in the clearing. They had faced the Kragans head-on and emerged victorious, but they knew they couldn't rest for long. The sounds of the ship still loomed in the distance, and they needed to find a safe place to hide. "Let's move," Jack urged, looking at Lyra. "We need to find shelter until we can figure out our next steps." Lyra nodded, her eyes filled with determination. "There's a cave nearby. I know it well. It's hidden by thick vines. We can stay there until it's safe." "Lead the way," Raj said, his voice still strong despite the exhaustion in his body. They followed Lyra through the forest, weaving between the trees and avoiding open spaces. The sunlight flickered through the leaves, casting a gentle glow around them. As they walked, Jack felt a sense of relief. They had faced danger together, and now they were united by their shared experience. When they reached the cave, Lyra pushed aside the vines to reveal a dark entrance. Inside, the air was cool and damp. They stepped inside cautiously, grateful for the temporary refuge. The cave was larger than they expected, with walls that sparkled in the dim light. "Let's rest here for a moment," Zoe suggested, taking a seat on the cool ground. "We've earned it." As they settled in, Jack couldn't help but feel a strong bond forming among the group. They had all fought for Lyra, and she had risked everything to help them. He turned to her, a smile on his face. "You were incredible back there. Your powers really turned the tide." Lyra's cheeks flushed with happiness. "Thank you. I just wanted to protect you all. I couldn't let the Kragans take me again." Raj chuckled. "You showed those Kragans what we're made of. I wouldn't want to fight you on the other side." Everyone laughed, the tension of the previous battle easing slightly. But as they sat together, Jack felt a weight on his heart. He knew that Lyra's home was still in danger, and they couldn't forget that. "We have to come up with a plan," Jack said, looking around at his friends. "We can't let the Kragans continue to threaten you or your planet." Mia nodded, her mind already working on ideas. If we can find a way to disrupt their operations, we might be able to buy time for you to get back home, Lyra. Exactly, Jack agreed. And maybe we can gather more allies. If your people knew about the Kragan threat, they might join us. Lyra's eyes sparkled with hope. My people are brave. They would fight to protect their home. If we can send a signal, we could gather them for support. Then let's do it, Raj said firmly. We have to let them know we're here to help. As they discussed their plan, Lyra shared stories of her planet, its beauty, and its people. Jack and the others listened intently, fascinated by her descriptions of colorful landscapes and unique creatures. The more they learned, the more they felt a connection to her world. Your planet sounds amazing, Zoe said, her eyes wide with wonder. I wish we could see it. You will, Lyra promised, her voice filled with determination. Once we defeat the Kragans, I will show you everything. With their plan in place, Lyra took a deep breath. I can use my powers to send a message to my people. It will take a lot of energy, but I know I can do it. Are you sure? Jack asked, concern in his eyes. Lyra nodded, her expression resolute. I have to try. My people need to know we're fighting for them. Then we'll support you, Mia said, stepping forward. We'll help in any way we can. As they prepared for Lyra's message, Jack felt a surge of hope. They had come together as a team, and now they were fighting for something greater than themselves. They were fighting for friendship, loyalty, and the future of Lyra's world. Lyra closed her eyes, focusing on the energy within her. The cave filled with a soft glow as she called upon her powers. Jack and the others held hands, feeling the warmth of her energy surround them. In that moment, they were united, not just as friends, but as allies ready to face whatever came next. The light of Lyra's powers pulsed brightly, sending a signal into the sky. Jack watched in awe as it soared high above, a beacon of hope. They were ready to take the fight to the Kragans, and together they would protect what mattered most. Their adventure was far from over, but with their newfound friendship, they felt ready to face any challenge ahead.